there's some key dashboards for a business and the different roles of the staff. We've surfaced a lot of the common things like what needs to be ordered today, purchase order wise, looking at what stock, if you've got a particular threshold, we make sure you've got that ready to go so that you can fulfill your demand.
Welcome back to The Business Behind Your Business. I'm your host, Paul Sweeney. So my background as an accountant, I come across many businesses that have many different issues, and some sell products, some sell services. But today we're going to focus on businesses that sell products. And there are a number of traps for those businesses not having good systems to manage and control your inventory. And there are a number of issues in terms of not knowing whether you've got product to sell, whether you're selling it correctly, or where it actually is, so that you can sell it to your customer. Now, I'm an accountant, but the best person to talk to you about inventory systems that I know is Matt Green from Unleashed. So, Matt, welcome to the microphone.
Thanks, Paul. Great to be here. And I look forward to the chat.
Fantastic. Now, Unleashed, let's just clear this up. Unleashed is an inventory software business, correct?
Correct, yeah. Unleashed is inventory management and manufacturing as a solution. So cloud-based software, and we work really well for businesses that have products. So they buy and sell those products, or they may manufacture and sell products. So helping them with their inventory management needs.
Fantastic. And look, Matt, Unleashed has been around very early on in the cloud, I guess the cloud culture that came through with your Xero and your QuickBooks Online. And Unleashed was one of the pioneers in this field. So you've got the experience, you've got the runs on the board.
Absolutely. Yeah, we out of Auckland originally. So our founder, Greg Murphy, was friends with Rod Drury, the founder of Xero. So almost neighbours over there. And Greg was clever to see where Xero might start and end as far as inventory management was concerned, and say, where Xero starts to tap out, that we could take over. So it's, into its 14th year, and we're going very well.
And look, you just mentioned that about where Xero taps out in terms of inventory management. And this is, I guess, an argument I have with a lot of business owners about why they need a dedicated system, because there are limits on the inventory management in any accounting package.
Correct, yeah. It's an interesting space because you can go so far with any product, and you should try, I believe, with any software to get as much value out of it as possible. But typically businesses will start to lose track when there might be multiple locations, if they are importing or exporting and handling multi-currencies, where the stock actually is, and knowing the true margins on a daily basis. That real time, you touched on it earlier, Paul, where the stock is, so that they're making sure that they have got the stock to fulfill the sales orders that they have, or anything that's committed. They're not sort of double selling and having stock outs, because it becomes quite an expensive exercise to keep, one, to win customers, and then to service them effectively. And things like, if you're on the manufacturing side, have your raw materials, that you are stocking. You don't want to stock too much. There's a lot of money that can be tied up in your inventory, whether it's raw materials or finished goods, and you want to operate as lean as you can, but have those safety stock margins and your threshold set, so you know that you're ordering in a timely fashion what goods you need to satisfy your.
So maybe we could go through some of the key advantages of an inventory system that you don't get through some of the basic inventory functions in accounting, and especially not from my nightmare experience of inventory management by Excel spreadsheet. So what are the key advantages of having your inventory system for a business owner?
Yeah, classic question, and probably starts with things like just the human error. It can be if you're in a manual setup, or you've got the Frankenstein spreadsheet that's grown and grown as a business has. There comes a point where some of those mistakes can become quite costly, and especially if you're looking at things like exchanges, or you've got a network of locations. Timing where your stock is and when it can arrive, that would be a pretty sophisticated spreadsheet. And for cloud software that we focus on doing exactly that, being able to help that real time position, that's incredibly powerful. There's also average landed costs, which is probably a key thing that we do, helping the businesses to know what the true costs are. If there's freight, if there's different exchange rates, just actually helping a business owner and the team really understand, their sales team, what margin they've got to work with, so they're not shooting themselves in the foot and can operate more profitably.
And I think that's one of the things that business owners often don't see the real cost of what inventory they've actually got on hand and how much they've got tied up, how much cash is tied up in inventory. And not knowing the correct value of it. And I go back to my very early days in accounting, and this is also pre-accounting systems. So back before you even had your MYOB, so your desktop accounting, working with a client who didn't cost in the full cost of his inventory and got his margins completely wrong, made a loss on every job because he didn't cost in all the costs. So he didn't cost in things like freight and insurance. So
it's a rude shock. Shock for some businesses, sadly, and having advisors around that can help. And that's probably a key as well, having that experience and setting up these systems properly, but the processes as well in those businesses, helping the businesses optimize and follow through so that they can trust what's in the system and confidently make decisions and sell and run profitably. But an interesting probably area that as our software's evolved, Unleashed has got, say, a business intelligence area where there's a lot of really nice reports. And an example that you just sort of gone close to there is that sales insight. So seeing how your team is performing, each sales member, what they're actually selling, checking out who the best salesperson may be and what the profile of orders are, because if you're trying to bundle up stock because you've got fast-moving stock or slow-moving stock that, as you just said, can tie up capital, you want to make sure you're moving the product, ideally that you want to move. And if you can bundle it up and sell more, that larger sale on average and doing it profitably and having insights across your sales team, it's really valuable for a lot of small and medium businesses that are wanting.
Look, you just mentioned bundling stock there. And that's not an uncommon thing that we see, is that a business will buy in a stock item, but it needs to come with some additional items to make it saleable in the Australian market. And one that jumps to mind is an experience we had recently with a client where they were selling guitars, but when they ordered them from the supplier, they didn't come with cases. So they ordered the cases separately. The cases never got recorded as part of the completed stock item. So the value of stock was incorrect. They didn't account for the value of the cases. And the final cost of the product that they sold to their customer.
Yeah, ouch. It's painful. We see that across a lot of different industries, say fashion and cosmetics, where bundling might be appropriate. And if I guess a lot of those businesses that can have e-commerce, which we service a lot of as well, that's pretty common that they might put together or allow somebody to bespoke order a certain number of items. So, to miss something like that, it's, a fundamental no-no.
Look, you mentioned, I'm not sure if you just mentioned it then or earlier before we started recording the interview, that we talked about fast-moving consumer goods. And you've got to really keep on track of what you've got in stock. And is there a way of managing, expiry dates of stock items in Unleashed?
Yeah, there is. So you can look at first in, first out or FIFO, and there might be certain industries where that's important because you've got perishable items where they will go out of date, and you obviously lose a lot of money as a business if you're not moving the right stock out. So, the business owners will know this, how well that is managed on the floor in terms of a warehouse or, if you're manufacturing to order based on what your demand is, then that's key that you know what is the older stock for some businesses. So food and beverage, for example, that we do a lot of, it might go into the fashion and cosmetics, but health and wellbeing products being another area maybe for us. So wastage is an important part as well, probably to touch on. If they're doing production, so to take it in a slightly different direction here, the batch tracking. So Unleashed helps with serial and batch tracking. And for compliance, that's key. And a lot of back to your earlier point, Paul, where businesses may move beyond a spreadsheet or accounting software, having something they can rely on that's got the serial number tracking and batch tracking can be key.
Yeah, and I guess if you're producing perishable goods, that identification of serial numbers and batches is critical, particularly if you have expiry or there is, hopefully never going to happen, but if there's an issue with a product, you can identify quickly which batch, which process. For your recall. So look, it's a world of pain if that happens, and you need to be prepared. So it's interesting that the health and medical
equipment, for example, where we might have a lot, the serial number tracking there does improve that management of high value componentry and certainly helps with the warranty process post.
And look, there's a lot of information in an inventory system, because the key to the usefulness of any information is how you can get access to it quickly. And I know that there's a number of reports that are easily obtained from Unleashed. What are some of the key reports that an owner should be reviewing regularly?
In Unleashed, what we've done is we get a lot of compliments on the user interface and the intuitive nature in our design. So there's some key dashboards for a business and the different roles of the staff. We've surfaced a lot of the common things like what needs to be ordered today, purchase order wise, looking at what stock, if you've got particular thresholds, we make sure you've got that ready to go so that you can fulfill your demand. Sometimes it's seasonal, your demand, and knowing that you've ordered, allowing enough lead time, and if things are coming in, supply chain's been a bit painful over the last few years. So knowing if you need alternate suppliers, that might come at different margins, at different rates. You can factor all of that in an inventory management solution. So yeah, key reports. If you are a manufacturer, looking at the production, knowing where the stages of if it's a multi-stage assembly process or manufacturing process, we're probably more suited to a light manufacturing type of setup. So knowing where those components are, we can disassemble things as well, if need be. So knowing where all of that is in terms of reporting, your sales reports are really key. There's a number of operational reports, and depending on your business, especially if there's multiple locations, just knowing where things are is, it might sound very simple, but it can be headaches for some businesses and their teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I will commend Unleashed on their dashboard and the report layouts, because it is of all the software we've used and seen for our clients, it's so easy to find your way around and find the reports that you need quickly, which is, if you're going to be using something, you want to be able to put your hands on it quickly. And that's a big time saving.
Some of those insights there, Paul, with your role and being an accountant, having that advisory hat on and working alongside the businesses to help ask the questions and draw on the insights, because it's great having an inventory management solution like Unleashed, but there's a wealth of data there, and you do these dashboards and the like will allow someone like yourself, Paul, an advisor, to sit alongside the business owner and ask questions around how they're managing certain parts and look where there might be bottlenecks or opportunities to improve profitability. So, we have a lot of fun, and it's very satisfying personally to be part of that. So,
look, because when you were talking about what types of reports and what information you could get, I was just thinking, great, there's some fantastic tools in there and questions that any business owner should be looking, particularly around stock. And you mentioned things like supply chain, like listing alternate suppliers. How long do you need to order in advance before you're going to get delivery of that stock? When should you order stock? And that automation of it, there's a lot of questions to ask. And if that information is being automatically generated and presented to you, it just gives you so much more time to manage your business, but a lot more confidence in your business processes and where exactly you are at any one point in time.
Totally. It can transform a lot of businesses in the way they operate. And I think that's fundamentally, software is one part, but it is easier to get the team to buy in when, look, it's a bigger piece of software, but we've made it very simple and easy to use. So once our team will help the business owners, and we can save you some time, Paul, and others like yourself. You don't have to fully learn inventory and understand our software. Our team will actually help look at how to best configure it for a business, because there might be certain requirements that they've got and their reasons for that. And we make it easy even first up, just making the decision, is there a good fit here or not? So it doesn't help anyone if we're not transparent around all of that and what it can do, but we've got some very well tried and tested functionality in the software that our customers have wanted over the years, and it's evolved and matured really, really nicely. So, it becomes a key part of a lot of business.
And look, we touched on it earlier about integrating with the accounting system. So not using the accounting system to do all the grunt work, but your Unleashed does all the grunt work around the inventory. But we've talked about how it integrates with other systems. So one of the obvious ones today is your e-commerce systems and sales process.
Yeah, the key one. So just stepping back, it's even Unleash fits very well with those wholesale businesses. They might be distributors. I've touched on the manufacturing, but e-commerce retailers as well. So with e-commerce, we have a number of e-commerce platforms and also marketplaces. So Shopify and Amazon, for example, some pretty well-known ones there that we make it easy to put all of your orders in one place, to see through an integration there, to see all of those orders. Because sometimes there might be multiple e-commerce platforms or marketplaces that a business will use to sell their goods. And even Shopify, multiple instances for different regions, different stores. So we've looked at that universally and seen the need to help these businesses simplify and know all of the orders that are coming in one place. And we've got plans to build out a few more. So that's something that's quite significant. Yet on the Xero side, on the QuickBooks side, we do integrate some of the key data that needs to be visible. Yeah, so the customer supplier purchases, sales and stock journals, your credits and sales and returns. And you can't see this on the podcast, but Paul's smiling. He loves this stuff.
I love any system that's going to make a business owner's life so much easier and give them more control over not just how they run their business on a day-to-day, but how they actually plan to grow their business. And with a knowledge of what's going on in your business, you're much better placed to be able to plan, to know, are you making a profit? What do you need to change in your business? What opportunities do you have? Knowledge is power, and systems, dedicated systems, make it so much easier. I think there's a key requirement to use the right tool for the right job. And, I'm going to say it again, and you'll hear me say this a lot. A spreadsheet is not the right tool for the job when you're running your business. Get the right tool in place and get it working for you, and it'll help you with growing your business, making profit, and just your peace of mind and reducing stress.
An example of that, and it's a really fundamental, to get that right, Paul. At the right stage of growth, an inventory management solution will suit a lot of businesses that manufacture and sell or buy and sell products. And to cater to that from a wholesale perspective, often your wholesale customers they can be larger orders and quite invaluable to your business if you have retail customers and wholesale. So one area that we looked at was managing multiple price points. So having price tiers that are appropriate for certain customer cohorts, whether that's your wholesale or not, we saw that need early on. So we built a business-to-business portal where this saves a lot of time, and this is something a spreadsheet can't do. The orders that are flying in the door, Paul, can come spreadsheet, email, phone. It's old school, Paul. No, I look after Joe. Joe, we've done business for years. I have to go and see Joe. So if that's face-to-face we've looked at giving it to a business-to-business portal so that your wholesale customers can have the right products that they need to see and the right price points, the price tiers. So something like that saves a lot of businesses a stack of time just with their order.
So I think a lot of people stop at implementing an inventory system because they don't see the value. But you've highlighted so many valuable pieces of information and decision-making processes in there that they've gone from being a nice to have, they are a must have in today's environment. You've got to know whether you're making profit. You've got to make it easy for your customers to transact with you. You've got to make a profit on every sale. You've got to know what your salespeople are doing. Do you have stock that you can't get rid of? What are you going to do about it? Those sorts of decisions, you can't do them without the knowledge, and you've got to have a good system to record them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's when we cover so many different industries, Paul, it's fascinating. You do see sometimes things that are industry specific, but when you step back, there's usually some good universal, needs and demands that you can say this would help a lot of businesses. So we've tried to prioritize what's going to give the biggest bang for buck to the customers, to the businesses that are using this to manage their inventory and some of their manufacturing. So an example from an industry standpoint, Xero's not tackled the making wine equalisation tax an easy part, a holistic part of their tool. So we've looked at this and we worked with another very large, credible accounting firm for a complex wine client that they had. So what we've come up with is a way to look at how the orders that are relevant to have a wet tax, a wine equalisation tax displayed on their invoices. We're helping a lot of these wine businesses and alcohol businesses that are subject to the wet tax to be able to have invoice compliance now. So displaying wet on the invoices. So then making the management of those orders and tallying up how many are wet applicable and what a tax rebate might be to those business owners. These are smaller businesses sometimes. They can be larger wineries, but they're complex. And it's an example of where we've put the hand up and innovated with some great knowledge and compliance expertise coming from that accounting partner of Unleashed. And we've been able to come up with a solution, and Xero's very excited with it, and we're just taking that to market now.
Because it is a complex calculation, and as a business owner, if you get that wrong, there are issues down the track. So any process that can automate that and give you confidence about what you're doing is a must-have. So it's great to hear that. Matt, is there any? When should you start with an inventory management system? When's a good point in time?
That's a great question, and if you've come very respectfully, depending on the age of a business, I see a few that are transitioning from perhaps one generation to the next, and it can be that they want to, rather than running it out of the grey matter of the first generation, which they've done, they've been very skilled at being able to run a business very lean over many years with their spreadsheets often and whatnot. But if you can't transfer that knowledge easily to a next generation, that would shout out to me that it's perhaps time to systemize some of that business IP, intellectual property, the way they operate. A system is a great way to do that. So Unleashed for inventory there. There can be times where there's scale. They might win some big contracts, or they've got some big customers coming on board, and the way they've managed their inventory in the past isn't going to cut it. There can be with growth also, new staff. So yes, there's a need to train them, but identifying that, hey, we need to have a better process and system across our business so that we can stay on top of things. An example, if stock starts to go missing, sometimes if that's not done, tracked properly through a system, it can go on for a long time and cost the business a lot of money. Not suggesting the theft is a big thing, but breakages and tracking the true stock position can be a really important thing for a business, and a system is a way to do that. So if you don't have an accurate handle on your stock on a daily basis, you've got to ask yourself, would it be valuable for us to do that? Or if you start getting caught out having perhaps stock outs and you can't fulfill orders, a couple of obvious ones for me there that prize someone's white knuckles off their spreadsheets and let other people in. So there are a few ideas there, Paul.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
One more, international expansion. If you've got new markets opening up, and to do that without having sometimes your trusted people on the ground, or some business owners don't know any, maybe you do, that might have some control issues that might like to know what's going on everywhere at every moment. So that can be hard, but really when you've got an opportunity to expand, even interstate, it doesn't have to be overseas, and that can be a time to have a good look at an inventory management scheme.
Great. So I think if people want to get started with Unleashed, or at least check it out, where do they go to find out more about Unleashed?
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm on LinkedIn, but Unleashed is available through unleashedsoftware.com. There's a lot of information there on our website. You can find us on different social platforms, a stack of videos and things like that if you're interested, or jump in and have a trial. So, Paul, for someone like yourself that works with business owners, you might want to come and talk to somebody first. That's something that I can help with. So you can find me on LinkedIn. It's Matt Green. Or there's an advisor page on the Unleashed website. That'll find its way to me if you're in Australia. And businesses can certainly check out the rest of the information online.
Fantastic. Great. Well, we'll put links to those details in the show notes, and please jump online, have a look at Unleashed, and particularly if you are still managing your inventory, and I use that term loosely, managing your inventory with a spreadsheet or a sheet of paper, it's time to move forward and take control of your business by putting in a good, solid, reliable inventory management system like Unleashed.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, Paul. It's been great. I hope there's some great value there.
Thanks for listening. Do you have a question you'd like our team of experts to answer? If you do, send your question to podcast@thebusinessbehindyourbusiness.com. To hear more from The Business Behind Your Business, don't forget to subscribe using your favourite podcast player. Or you can visit the businessbehindyourbusiness.com website.